guys, it's Austin. Welcome to your 8th ROBLOX Lua scripting tutorial. And today we're going to learn about built-in functions. But before we begin, I just wanted to thank Roblox user Vorex, VOREXX, for pointing out something wrong with my recording software on my last videos. I don't know if any of you noticed, but well, if you watched it, you probably did, but it wouldn't show play solo mode or autofill. That's what this is. I explained it to you guys, but I guess none of you saw it because of my camera. But yeah, that's what autofill is. So let's get started. First things first, a built-in function is similar to a function you would write like this in the way that it performs a certain action. But you wouldn't set it up like that with an end. You would just use the colon, then parentheses if you want to add any parameters, which some require. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 built-in functions that I deemed are simple enough for this video, and I'll get started and go over the first one. Find first child. We're going to say if workspace colon find first child, and for find first child you need one parameter, which is just the name of what you want to find. We're gonna say baseplate because it's already there. So what find first child does, it basically just finds the first child of whatever parent this is in, the script is in. It finds the first child that has whatever name you put here. If there's more than one, you would probably use the getChildren method, and then loop through whatever you're trying to loop through the children of the parent of the script, whatever you're trying to find the child of, and then look for it that way, but I'll explain that later because that might have not made sense. So if workspace find first child baseplate, then what this is basically saying, if workspace find first child baseplate is true, meaning if workspace has a child named baseplate. So using find first child in an if statement can be really useful. Then we're going to print it worked. Open the output. It worked. We found the child named baseplate. Okay. This can also be used in other ways, which we'll probably most definitely use in the future. I use that a lot. Just gonna put an X by that, I guess, to show that we did it. Next is remove. This built-in function removes something from the game. Not quite, because it only sets the parent of whatever you're removing to nil, which means it can be added back, which is useful. And, well, I think that just enlightened me on why something in my game was breaking earlier. Okay, I'll have to remember that later. Sorry about that, but we're gonna say game.workspace.baseplate remove. We ran it, it removed the baseplate, but the built-in function remove is deprecated, meaning outdated, so you probably shouldn't use that, but we'll look here for it. I have a webpage on the Roblox wiki listing all the built-in functions in Roblox. We're going to look at remove, and then we're going to look at destroy. Sets the object's parent to nil and does the same for all its descendants, which means children. This item is deprecated in favor of destroy and clear all children. Clear all children just pretty much destroys all the children of an object. Okay, no, it removes them. If you remove an object from the game and wish to use the object later, set its parent property to nil instead of using this method. If the object is referenced before being removed, it's possible to retrieve it at a later point, which is useful. So destroy. It sets the parent property to nil, it locks the parent property, disconnects all connections, and calls destroy on all children. This first part, it sets the parent property to nil. That's the same as remove, but it also locks the parent property, meaning it can't be changed. It's really gone. You can't retrieve it. Disconnects all connections, which are pretty much events, like I explained in the last video. Hopefully some of you remember that. And it does the same for all of the object's children. So destroy. Using destroy is usually much more efficient, and I just recommend using that because remove is deprecated. So yeah, don't actually use remove. And then if we replace this with destroy, it'll do the same thing, as you see. So now we're going to look at clone. Clone creates an extra copy of something, as you might have been able to infer. Now we're going to see what happens if we use a lowercase c. Yeah. Okay, no, because that's deprecated, and I'm not sure if that would even work. Oh, wait, no. Clone.parent equals workspace. Dot workspace. Nope. Okay. Yeah, now we got that extra copy of it. Usually when you clone something, you're probably going to have to set the parent right after. You could also do, instead of doing this, baseplate dot parent equals workspace, but that takes up an extra line, and it's just inefficient. Plus, there's going to be 2 base plates, so the script might confuse it to what you're actually cloning, which already has a parent, and that would just mess things up. So when setting the parent of a cloned object, I recommend always doing this method. Next. Break joints. I used this built-in function in my last video when I explained events. We made a kill brick, a lava brick. When you touched it, it broke your joints, which essentially just destroyed your character, set its health to 0, it utterly decimated it. Breaks any surface connection with any adjacent part, including welds and other joint instances. So it breaks welds, whatever it's jointed to, and your Robloxian body, your avatar, it needs those welds to stay alive. It needs pretty much all its limbs, else its health will be depleted to 0, so that's why it killed our avatar. So I guess I don't need to demonstrate that since I did in my last video. Hopefully you watched that beforehand. Get children. This has to do with tables, and I'm thinking of making my next video on tables. I'm not sure yet, but I'll go ahead and explain this. Get children. It essentially returns a table of the children of whatever you're getting the children of. Get children. Returns a read-only table of the object's children. The below would print the name of all objects currently in workspace when ran. In this example, it's done using a for loop. This, I usually don't do this because it's inefficient. I'm used to using a generic for loop, which I haven't got to yet. I mentioned it in the last video. I'll get to that when we get to tables. For index child in pairs. This could be IV in pairs, underscore V in pairs, whatever in pairs. It's pretty much anything you want, but you might not understand that. I'll get to that in the next video when I do tables. Workspace. colon get children do print its child name. Okay. So for I v in pairs get children. Oh wait, workspace get children do. So if you don't already have a table to loop through when you're using a generic for loop and you want to just loop through a parent like workspace, lighting, players, anything, you can do this. Workspace get children, lighting get children. You can do that with a model in workspace, anything that has children. Then that makes a table of the children. We're gonna say print iv.name. The name of, I did not explain what I and v are. We'll look at the output, then I'll try to explain that. Okay, 1 camera, 2 terrain, 3 baseplate, 4 script. Now let's look inside workspace. 1 camera, 2 terrain, 3 baseplate, 4 script. So I'm pretty sure it didn't loop through them in any certain order, else it probably would have been terrain, script, camera, baseplate. Yeah, they're a little out of order there, but we're gonna go back to the script. So I is pretty much just the number of whatever you're looping through. Well, the object of whatever you're looping through. Okay, this is hard to explain. So it returns a table, right? When you print the contents of the table like we're doing, I is the number of whatever v is. V is the object of not what's being looped through, but what you get when you loop through it, such as you're looping through workspace and you get baseplate, script, camera, terrain. All those are v, and I is the number of them when they loop through, if that makes any sense. Like I said, didn't loop through them in any particular order, so the first thing it looped through was camera, then terrain, then baseplate, then script. Let's run that again and see if it does a different order. 1 camera, terrain. Yeah, no, it did not. I guess that's just based on what type of instances they are. I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much what get children does. If I didn't explain that clearly enough, please feel free to message me, post in comments. That could be sort of confusing. Next is the built-in function isA. Using that built-in function pretty much checks if whatever you're using it on is a instance of whatever type. So you could say if game.workspace.baseplate is a part, and you can check if it is right here. This is what kind of instance it is. So it is a part named baseplate. I hope you didn't confuse the instance for being a baseplate. That could get pretty confusing, but no, the name's just baseplate. Is a part, then print it's a part. It's a part because game.workspace.baseplate is a part. Its class or instance is part. I'm pretty sure the type of instance it is called a class. Yeah. Returns true if the object is an instance of the given class, or if the object's class inherits from the given class. That might not make much sense to you, but that's pretty much what I just explained. Yeah, all that's true. You can just look through that. Also, one thing that you might want to know: game, which is the parent of workspace, players, lighting, replicated, all that, is also referred to as the data model, as shown here. And sorry about that Spotify window. That might be a useful piece of information in the future. Hope that explained it well. Last is get service. All these are services. You see sound service, HTTP services. I don't know if I explained that before, but all these things are services. You can insert some services through here, like Teams and test service, which we don't really need right now. Yeah, and it'll insert it, but I'm going to... Okay, I cannot undo that. It doesn't matter. But, yeah, not all services that you can insert will be here. Sometimes you need to insert services when a server is running, like there's data store service, which I will not get into because that would be insanely complicated for you guys right now. I'm gonna try to find an example of another service. Wait, no, she's back there. Get service. It returns the service with the class name requested. Yeah, debris is also a service that used to be listed like between starter GUI and lighting, but they removed it for some reason. Not 100% sure why. The debris service is responsible for removing objects from the data model after the amount of time specified in calls to add item, which we don't need to know about right now. But you can think of debris as a storage bin or a recycling bin or something, a place to store debris, which, if you don't know what debris is, that's like trash, basically. Scattered fragments, typically something wrecked or destroyed, dirt or refuse. Yeah, just trash that you do not need. Yeah, so if we wanted to insert debris service, we would say game : get service. No. Debris. I'm not sure if it would actually insert it if we ran that, but yeah, no. That might not seem useful to you guys, but if you're basically, some things in coding, like I said, have services that you need to set up, like data stores, which is a more efficient way of storing data for a player, like kills, deaths, whatever. Yeah, some things like that require a service that you need to insert before you can start working with it, because if you have all the code to set up what you need to do, but it's a service that you're working with and you don't use game.getService or game:getService, yeah, if you don't insert the service, some things will be utterly useless. That might sound scary or something, but it's not. I guess that's it. If you guys have any more you want me to go over, just post in comments, message me, and I'll make new videos on a separate playlist that go over them. So if this helped you learn something, please like the video, subscribe if you want. I'd really appreciate it. Like I said, my next video is probably going to be on tables. I'm sort of excited to make that because tables are fun. Woo. Okay, until next time guys, happy 4th of July to you Americans.